So every day it seems like Hamas can't outdo the cruelty, and then they go ahead and they surprise us and they outdo themselves. I'm sure you've all heard of the cruelty with the Bibas family, obviously, with not giving Israel the correct locks to unlock the coffins and not returning shiri. But then today, seeing this propaganda video that is being released, where 2 additional hostages are brought to the terror stage in a vehicle, the door is opened, and they're saying, is that Omer? That's Omer. Oh my God, that's our friend Omer. And they're bringing them to the brink of freedom, and a terrorist asks them, how does it feel? And then they have to beg for their freedom. Please, please, let us go. We're seeing our friends being released after 500 days. Please, it's all we want is to go home. How cruel can you be? This is psychological torture, not just for the hostages, but they are doing this to torture Jews around the world. Every Jew around the world is being tortured by this. To anybody who thinks that these people, these Hamas terrorists, cannot think for themselves, cannot take care of themselves, cannot do for themselves, you need to stop infantilizing these people, because the amount of brain power it takes to think of the torture that you are putting people through, not only the psychological torture with the propaganda videos, but God knows what other kind of creative physical torture that we're gonna find out. And we're slowly finding out, hanging them by their ankles and all kinds of things that we're hearing, more of which is going to come out from these hostages. If they took a fraction of that energy and put it into doing better for their own people, they would have a state by now. Problem is, they don't want a state. They want to wipe Israel off the map. And they've made it very, very clear with their propaganda posters that state exactly that. I'm not making this up. They say it in their posters. They say that they want to wipe Israel off the map, that the whole area from the river to the sea will be Palestine, and that Jerusalem will be their capital. They say this in their propaganda posters. You know, they have the money and the time to go to a printing press somewhere. Meanwhile, the world says that they are undergoing a genocide. I don't know any people that are undergoing a genocide that also have time to go to a printing press. There's nothing that I'm saying that is not factual. And I'm tired of the days where we're making false equivalencies. The sides are not equal. One side is a terror organization that goes to every means necessary. We've heard that on the streets. And the other side are like babies and people that were in their beds and people that were at a dance party. And you talk about, oh, occupation. Well, you know, I'm not going into the history of Israel. It's not occupation. I'm tired of these buzzwords being used to justify the torture, the rapes that we know happened, and the psychological torture that is continuing to happen. And the one thing that worries me is that Hamas knows that they will have no leverage after they release all the hostages. So America and Israel need to continue to be as strong as possible, as forceful as possible, because the Arabs understand strength. This is also why I think that we're getting as far as we have by releasing so many hostages right now, is because maybe they're getting a sense that they're not putting up with the BS. So they're trying to play their games, but the deal is continuing. Because from the Palestinian side, they will have a problem when they don't have any more hostages as leverage. And people around the world need to speak out about this. Because if this can happen to children in their beds and to kids that are dancing at a rave, this can happen to anyone. It's not just the Jews that they hate. It's anybody that is a non-Islamist Muslim, a non-extremist Muslim. There was a Bedouin was released today. He was not released on camera, but a Bedouin was kept in captivity for 10 years. There were 2 hostages that were released today in captivity for more than 10 years. An Ethiopian and a Bedouin. And the world has allowed this to happen. The world funded these terror tunnels and funded the bank accounts of Hamas to pay their quote-unquote martyrs. If people don't see that this is morally corrupt and this is morally wrong, then I don't know what there is to see. I would like to believe that all these ridiculous videos of people wearing these keffiyeh clown costumes are a loud minority, but people need to speak up. And I am hoping that one day when Hamas loses, we will later find out who the actual innocent Palestinians were that were too afraid to speak up in the face of Hamas. Look, if you know that Hamas will strangle a baby with their bare hands, then are you going to speak up against them? No, you're not going to. That's freaking terrifying. So just like in Nazi Germany, it was only after the war that we learned of, the Raoul Wallenbergs and all of the people that helped the others. Some of the stuff, I just can't believe what I'm seeing. I can't believe that the world is allowing this to happen, that the Red Cross is just standing there signing papers like they're signing a check, and the way the world doesn't see through the propaganda BS. That's it for now. That's it.